Hello you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if you are new here, an extra special welcome to you. My name is Beth. I make all kinds of motherhood and lifestyle videos here on YouTube, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite ever topics to talk about, and that is homemaking. What I want to dive into in this video specifically is some of the homemaking habits that I feel have really transformed our household, have made our space feel more cozy for us living in it, but also all of the people that come into our home as well. So if you want to hear a little bit more about my heart behind homemaking and the tips that have helped us, then just keep on watching. So I've said it once, but I'll say it again. Homemaking and housekeeping are not the same. There is a difference between creating a place of belonging for the people that you love and simply just taking care of the day-to-day duties of dishes and laundry and all of those other things. Homemaking is also not just limited to motherhood or to marriage. If you are single, if you are a working mom, whatever your life looks like, if you are living in a home right now, you are making that home and you are creating a space in it, and what that space feels like and what it actually does for the people that come into your home is actually up to you. We get to cultivate and create in our homes, and I think that that is such a beautiful thing. One of the things that I've been thinking about a lot recently is the fact that home has become in recent years very much a place of transition for us in our culture. It's been a place where people come home and they'll maybe eat dinner, go to sleep, they're going to work, they're going to school, they're going to their extracurriculars, they're doing things in the evening. And so home has kind of just become a stopover ground for people and a place to go to sleep instead of the place where people want to actually be. But I don't want my kids to grow up in a house where home is just kind of a stopover place. I want home to be the place for them. So I really do see my home as my ministry, and of course we all have unique ways of making home, and that is so important as well, but I wanted to share some of the ways that I really practically make my home feel very cozy and inviting for the people that live here and also come through the doors. So my very first habit is being up before the kids. I really do believe that we as women set the tone in the way that our house is going to feel for the day, with the attitude that we carry in each morning, and so I try and have myself be kind of ahead of that with a good attitude by waking up first every day. Being in the trenches of motherhood right now, sleep is a very unpredictable thing, and so I have really condensed down my morning routine. I kind of start in the order of importance of them. So the first thing is spending time quietly with the Lord, reading my Bible. There are some days that it does just happen at the end of the day, and that's just the way that life is right now. You got to be flexible with it, but I think that if I can prioritize it in the morning, it is better for our entire family. So that is one thing that's really important to me. I also try and get the house just kind of rolling for the day, so emptying the dishwasher, sometimes getting breakfast started depending on how much time I have, and I also really like to get myself ready for the day if I can. Some days that's just my hair, some days it's my makeup, sometimes it's literally just deodorant and rolling with it. It kind of depends on what the day looks like, but I find that I always just feel better and more productive for the rest of the day if I've gotten myself ready to some extent as well. So the next thing that I do is something that is so simple, but I have coined it as waking the house up. And so when I get up in the morning, part of what I do is come out and basically make sure that everything that could have been left out from the night before is kind of reset, and I'll actually go through and open all of the curtains up so that light is streaming through. If it's warm enough, I'll crack a window open to just have some fresh air flowing through when people are coming out, and I find that this quick little reset and having things just feel bright and open and airy and welcoming makes it feel so nice when you come out from your bedroom in the morning, and I really do believe that it makes a massive difference on mood as well to come out into a house that just feels bright and inviting every morning. The next thing that I love to do in my home every single day is light candles. I am a candle girl through and through. It doesn't matter what the season is, whether it is summer, spring, winter, fall, I have candles going in the house, and they don't even need to be scented. It's honestly just to create that atmosphere with the different lighting and just the ambiance of the way that the space feels. And I know that candles have been kind of like a topic of discussion over the last couple of years because not all of them are safe for your family to be breathing in. So I have ditched all the Bath and Body Works stuff. We're no longer using stuff like that, and I've been looking for more like local small businesses that make hand poured candles, so out of things like soy or beeswax, and are more safe for my family. And I just found that that is a way that I can still kind of create that atmosphere and still also feel good about it and know that it's a little bit safer. So what I love to do every single morning is have a candle lit over breakfast. I find that that is just such a cozy way to get the morning started, but lighting them over dinner or when friends come over is also a a really great way that I can just have my home feel more cozy and inviting to be in. Another thing that I have been doing for years, but have also been doing a lot more recently now that my daughter loves it, is playing movie scores. So this is different from movie soundtracks, not necessarily the music that would have lyrics and come with a movie, but the actual score that goes behind it. So they're usually classical, and some of the ones that I love are the Pride and Prejudice soundtrack or score. I actually really love the one from The Princess Diaries, which is honestly such a throwback to my childhood, but the score for that is so beautiful. I really love the score from The Holiday. I kind of just find that there are different scores that go well with different seasons, and having that classical music in the background makes life feel like a movie. It really does make every moment feel so much more elevated, and if you have kids, it's a really great way to be introducing classical music to them as well. We've kind of branched off from scores into just more classical composers recently with our daughter, so she's really liking Vivaldi and Tchaikovsky. Two different playlists that I've been using a lot recently, especially in the morning, are Classical English Countryside on Spotify, and then someone that has created one called The English Countryside in the 19th Century. It's basically just the scores from Jane Austen movies, but you guys, it just makes your house feel so good in the morning, and when you're like cooking and getting things going for the day, making dinner, it just sets such a vibe. So I absolutely love playing music in the background from movie scores to just set an atmosphere in my home. The next thing that I do every day, but it's because I do it every week, is meal planning. So I, over the last couple of years, have really cracked down on this, especially now that we have children, because there are people to feed. And so having ingredients in my house to make meals for my family is very important to me. And I found that before, when I would just do like a general grocery shop and buy kind of staples and have them in the fridge or the pantry, and then go and try and cook something of those things, we were eating the same things all the time. I was lacking inspiration, and I felt a lot more stressed about it. Now what I do is every single Sunday night, I will sit down and I will meal plan. I'll usually pull up Pinterest and some of the bank of like our family's favorite recipes, and I will pull from all of those different things to create a menu for the week. I have just found that meal planning has made cooking a lot more exciting for me, because I know where I'm going when I go to cook my meals. I know what things I need to pull out of the fridge. I know where the recipe is saved on my phone, and so for me, it just makes the whole process more enjoyable and less like panic ridden. We are cooking 3 times a day, and if I am going into each one of those meals like panicked about what I'm going to be serving, that is a large chunk of the day that I'm going to be stressed out. So having a plan in place has really made my life easier. Speaking of meals, another way that I feel like the environment of our home has just changed is by choosing to prioritize the habit of having meals at the table every single day. There are a number of reasons why I feel like this has changed the atmosphere of our home. One of them being simply the fact that to have meals at the table every day, we need to create more margin in our lives. There was a season of life where my husband Jared and I were just so busy that we would find that we would never be at home in the evening. We would always be out, we would need to be grabbing something, we would just be eating different places, and that was just too fast of a pace for us. And so we actually resolved that we wanted to be spending more time around the table in our home, especially as we added more children, and that is something that we've really stuck to. And so most of our meals do happen in our house at our table, and it's a time that I really do love having with my family. It's a time where we can enjoy good, nutritious food together, where we can catch up on our day, talk about what's going on in our lives or in our week, honestly just laugh together and have fun, especially with a almost 2-year-old at the table. And so those meal times are something that we really do cherish, and I feel like having that be kind of an anchor in our day and something that we know is going to be coming every single day at some point. And if it's not going to be dinner in the evening, it might be breakfast in the morning that day, but just having at least one meal a day where we're all around the table has become just such a pillar in the everyday rhythms of our family. So the next habit that has been a game changer in our home, especially in this busy season with kids, is cleaning as I go. I wish I could say right now that I have like a weekly routine or even like a monthly routine when it comes to different spaces in my house and how I clean them, but I feel like I generally do just keep a tidy and clean house most of the time by cleaning as I go. And so essentially I don't leave a room and go to the next one until I've kind of tidied up what I've done in that space, whether that is just taking a diaper with me when I leave to the next room, or putting a couple of things away, or when I'm making dinner, I'm often cleaning up as I go as well. So I'm not just pulling everything out and cleaning it all up at the end. So while I'm cooking, while I'm waiting for water to boil, I'm actually putting away some of the other things I've pulled out to make the meal, or putting dishes into the dishwasher, or actually washing one really quickly. And so cleaning as I go, or doing these like spot cleans as I go almost, is one of the ways that I feel like I actually give myself grace as a mom to be okay with the fact that things are not going to to be perfectly deep cleaned all the time. There's actually a proverb in the Bible that talks about the fact that when there are oxen in the stall, the trough is not going to be clean because there are oxen living in it. And I feel like I've heard that a lot recently when it comes to motherhood specifically, because there are children in our homes right now. We cannot expect it to look like there are no children here, and they live here too. We want the space to feel inviting for them. And so I think that just being okay with the fact that things are not going to be up to my like 100% standard of cleanliness all the time has been something that I've been able to kind of come to terms with. But cleaning as I go is a way that I am able to kind of just create a sense of order in my house, because we also serve a God of order, and I feel like we can all thrive better in a place that is not just in complete disarray. However, it's not going to be perfect. You will find dust bunnies under my couch. You will find toys that have not been wiped down in a while, and that's okay too. Another habit that I have every day that is related to cleaning specifically is closing the kitchen. So this is kind of the opposite or the reverse of waking the house up. I kind of put the house to bed at night as well by closing the kitchen. And essentially this is what happens right after dinner is finished. So no dishes are left behind for the next day. The dishwasher is running, the counters are wiped down. And this just allows me to come into a space the next morning where, again, I'm not reacting to what was left, but I've been proactive, and now we can get the day started with a fresh slate. I've really just found that going to bed with a clean kitchen at night not only just helps me sleep better knowing that there's no dishes left behind, but it really does set our whole family up for success in the morning. And it makes a huge difference in just the time that it takes to get things rolling every morning if I'm kind of like retroactively cleaning up from the night before. It's harder for me to make breakfast in the morning if the dishwasher hasn't run and all the things that I need are still in there. Then I have to start hand washing stuff, and then my toddler is hungry, and it just kind of spirals out of control a little bit. And so again, closing the kitchen and waking the house up are ways that I just find we set a more intentional rhythm and routine for the day. And all of this is that so that I can be more present with my kids. The next tip is one that is also a little bit more cleaning or like housekeeping related, but it is to only fold laundry in the room that it belongs. So I typically do 1 load of laundry every single day. I find that just with 4 people in our family and with 2 really young children that are getting their clothes dirty at the speed of light, it makes a lot more sense for me to just be continually doing these smaller loads of laundry instead of letting it accumulate and then having so much laundry to fold and put away, and it just never ends up getting done that way. So doing just a few things a day has been really helpful for me. But one of the rules that I have just been like so committed to in the last little bit is only folding the laundry in the actual room that it belongs. So for example, once the laundry is finished, I will kind of separate everything that belongs to my husband and I, and that goes straight to our bedroom. Anything that belongs to my toddler goes to her bedroom. And right now our baby actually shares a dresser with my husband and I, so his stuff will kind of go on top of that. And what I'll do is actually sort through all of that stuff in that space because it's so much easier, and I'm way more likely to put it away directly into the spot that it needs to go than I am if I actually take that basket of laundry out to the living room and kind of dump it out in front of the TV and fold it there. The times that I end up doing that, it's usually because my kids are napping, and I find that after they wake up from the nap, it just takes me forever to actually get the clothes back to their room. Recently, I really have just held on to this rule of only folding it in the place that it belongs, and it has honestly saved me my sanity. Next thing that I do to try and maintain a cozy and inviting home is to always have a space for guests that is really just ready to go at a moment's notice, like I mentioned. So in our new house, we do have a 3rd bedroom, and we could have made that a room for our youngest son, but it was really important for us to maintain that as a spot that people could come if they need it. And so while we do have our son sleeping in that room right now, I've intentionally not turned it into a nursery and kept it very mobile so that we can move him out if need be and back into our bedroom or into his sister's room, so that we can just have a spot for people to go if they need it. I don't know what that looks like for you, but for us, generally it's having family come and visit from out of town because they don't live super close to us. And so honestly, whenever someone leaves that guest room, I immediately go and wash all the bedroom and flip it over so that it's ready again if someone wanted to come that night and stay in our home as well. And my husband and I have just talked about the importance of it being available and ready if there was maybe someone in our community that was in a position where they needed a spot to stay. We just want our home to be open to those people and to those opportunities, because we really do believe that this house is God's and we're just stewarding it. And so having a space for people to stay that need it is one of the ways that we can do that well. It's not realistic for every single house to have a spare room in it, but what this could look like in your home is even just having a couple of backup pillows that are on hand if someone needed to come and crash at your place for a night and they wanted to do that on the couch, or even having some blankets that are washed and put kind of away into a linen closet or stored in storage if someone needed to come over. It's honestly just thinking about how you can use the space that you have been given for this season of life to serve others. And in some seasons that's gonna look like crashing on a couch for a night, and in other seasons it could be a guest room in your home. I think it's just whatever spot God has you in right now, having the perspective of, okay, God, here's the tool that I have, how can I use it to bless other people? And our homes are a great way to do that. The next habit that I have is honestly just changing my perspective and trying to approach every single day and the tasks that I am doing that day from a place of gratitude. I think that it is kind of hilarious that in this last little bit there has been a big shift, even in motherhood, when it has come to just like romanticizing things and just taking simple things and looking for ways to extract beauty from it. Honestly, romanticizing is just like a modern version of biblical gratitude. All of these principles, all of these concepts have actually been laid out in the original plan that God has given us in scripture, and approaching every single day with gratitude is the way that we were designed to live as human beings. That naturally will just cultivate more joy and contentment in our lives. And so whether you want to call it romanticizing or simple plain old gratitude, I think that if you do really work to change your perspective every day when you find yourselves in that position of being stuck in more of the mundane tasks of homemaking, it will allow you to recognize a lot more of the beauty in it and naturally restore the joy in it for you as well. The last daily homemaking tip that has honestly changed the atmosphere in our home, probably the most of all of these things, is drawing inspiration from God, our creator. It was honestly just sometime in this last year that I was reflecting on the character of God through the creation story, but also just in the atmosphere that he created in the Garden of Eden, and how God gave us the ultimate example of what it looks like to create a perfect home. There are three kind of key areas that I think that we can really look to when it comes to God being the ultimate example of the perfect homemaker, and the first one is beauty. We see that God prioritizes beauty. He creates so many things simply because they are beautiful and because it's a way that he can kind of express his creativity and create a world that is lovely for us to live in. And so when it comes to the way that my house looks, I also want to create a place of beauty for the people that live inside of it. Beauty really is in the eye of the beholder, so what this looks like for your family is going to be different from the next, but even things like the art that you have on the walls, the types of music that you play, having fresh flowers in your home or plants growing in the space, all of these different things can really add such beauty to your home, and I think it's so fun that we get to create and cultivate, like God, a place of beauty for our families. The second thing that we can learn from him, like I mentioned, is this element of order. God is a God of order. He puts things that are in chaos back in order. And so I think by setting up things like routines or different schedules for things or different rhythms for our family that we can come back to, we can also emulate God as the perfect maker of home through the way that he shows us that we as human beings really do thrive off of order. The last and most important example that we can obviously learn from God as well in the way that he created the world is this example of love that he sets for us. And I really love that we can look to the character of Jesus specifically for that, because Jesus is God in human form. It is how God would interact with us if he was here on this earth. And so I think it's so incredible that we have this amazing example of Jesus in these everyday contexts that we often also find ourselves in, like having dinner with people or going on a walk with someone, and just the way that in every moment he made people feel like they were seen, like they belonged, but ultimately that they were loved to their core. That is another thing that we can cultivate in our homes as well. And so I think for myself, just looking to God as the perfect maker of home when it comes to these things of beauty and order and love are another way that I have just tried to kind of bring that philosophy into my homemaking as well. Well, I hope that you guys enjoyed these tips and that they can be inspiring for you in whatever your homemaking journey is as well. Again, I just want to reiterate that I think it's so important that we recognize homemaking as being different from this concept of just housekeeping, and we really place value on it as a society, because home really can be a launch pad for the people in your life, whether that is your children and you are shaping the next generation, or you live in a dorm and you're inviting people in and just making them feel really loved during this time that they're away for school, or your children are off and married and you have capacity to actually have people staying in those rooms for different seasons while they need a spot to go. I think that home is just such an incredible tool that we have to be able to love people really well, and that's why I am so passionate about it. So I would love to know what your homemaking habits are, the things that you find, whether big or small, just really change the atmosphere of your home for the day. I feel like there is really nothing that is too small, because every single day it's all of these little things that we do intentionally that kind of add up and create these spaces that are just really welcoming for people to come into. So would love to hear those in the comments below. But if you liked this video, I would love for you to give it a thumbs up before you leave today. Consider subscribing to my channel if you don't want to miss out on more videos like this. And until my next video, I love you guys, happy homemaking, and I will see you soon.